Welcome back to Daytime, everybody. Now, when we were kids and we started to become aware of the bodies we were attracted to, that might materialize into a risky photo under your pillow or a secret VHS from your friend's older brother. But now, as long as you got something with Wi-Fi, you have access to a lot worse. Your kids can Google anything, and while curiosity is good, you don't want to see the answers they find. Or the things they Google sometimes too. But here to help manage pornography making its way into your children's lives before the appropriate age is Dr. Anna Maria Temple. Doctor, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
So great to be here. Such an important topic that we have to address.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my big question to you before we get to the specifics is how much, I don't want to call parents like being big brother, but how on top of their internet privileges and freedoms do you need to be as a parent?
We have to be more than you think you have. We have to be really vigilant. Kids have really young brains, and their brains thrive on excitement and colors and noise and music, and in this case, pornography. They don't have the mindset to regulate themselves. We, the parents, have to be their brain. And oftentimes, kids feel, oh, you're interfering, you're, suffocating me. I'm like, well, you know what? I need to suffocate you a little bit because I need to help you guide through this very confusing world. And when we were youngsters, well, I'll speak for me, I didn't have the technology, so I've never learned how my parents parent with technology. I'm learning this like everybody else, like fresh from the start, and it can be so confusing. And I would say most of us err on the like, oh, let me give them privacy. Well, how much privacy before, we get into big trouble? So I say err on being a little overcautious, but giving them enough room to experiment and enough room to make some mistakes. They have to make some mistakes.
So for parents who are like you, who are trying to navigate this, how do they first approach this discussion about that line that you don't cross when it comes to children and pornography?
The first thing is understanding that your kids are at risk like everybody else. A lot of parents are like, oh, no, I have parental blocks. Well, your Wi-Fi may have parental blocks, but they'll go into their friend's house who doesn't have parental blocks. A lot of kids feel that they have devices. I mean, 60% of kids less than 11 have cell phones. That's a huge responsibility and a huge amount of information at their fingertips. And they need to know that they are allowed to have that, but you should have their passcodes. You should be able to check their histories whenever you want to. And if the history is deleted, you're going to confiscate the said device. And it's just putting in place guidelines so they know, no surprises. Kids hate surprises, and so do we. But if they know that sometimes you're going to check the phone, sometimes you're going to look at their history, sometimes you're going to check in with other parents, they're going to be more likely to be, not accepting, but they're going to go along with it. Just give them exactly what your expectations are. And the other thing, talk to them about it. If we're afraid to ask them, do you watch porn? Think of this at dinner. This is our dinner time conversation. My husband looked at my children and was like, who here watches porn? I'm like, I choked on my soup. I'm like spilling it over myself. But it is an important question that we ask the kids. We're so afraid. We don't want to give them ideas. They have plenty of ideas. So I would say talk to them and ask them point blank, are you watching porn? And if they are watching porn, don't act all shocked and weird and try to scare them. Do neutral face. Be like, okay, I don't approve, but tell me why and tell me what. So then you can open the conversation and help them understand what they're seeing. They don't know what they're seeing.
Yeah, you think back on the sex ed that you took when you were in middle school and high school. Mm-hmm. No one feels that they learned enough. They look back and they think of all the things they didn't learn. So if that ends up being 10% of their education, the other 90% is going to be filled with what they saw on the internet. So they're going to have some really weird expectations about the ways that people express love.
Yes, and how they treat each other. If you don't talk to them like this is not reality, this is not how a man or woman or two partners interact with one another, they're going to grow up, that's what they're going to expect. And when that's what they expect, that's how they're going to treat one another. And that is not the message we want to give them. And the best way to do it is really, do not show them porn, that we're not going to do that. But if they are, we want to be able to help them understand why that's not reality. Because there's, just because you see it online does not mean it's true.
Now, there are so many parental blocks and different guides that are out there for parents, but for those that are struggling with finding resources to help them have this conversation or to talk to their kids, where can they go to get some support in this area?
First, talk to your doctor. Your physician should be able to know how to navigate the language of children and language of teenagers. They should be able to help you really start the conversation with them. That would be the first place I would go. And the next thing I would say is just sitting down and really have a conversation with your partner about what you guys plan on sharing together, because being on the same page is key. And then really, I will tell you, we found a lot of things on our own and stumbled through them, but the one takeaway is sitting in front of the children, talking to them without devices in your hand, without a TV on the wall, and just having frank conversation. And when you don't know, just say you don't know. And, they're sneaky. These small humans we birth are sneaky. And you think that they just look at Pornhub, but no.
The good news is they're very smart, and the bad news is they're very smart. So we have to outsmart them sometimes when it's for their own good, as parents often like to say. Dr. Anna Maria Temple, we always love talking to you. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
So great to be here. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.